Welcome to South Asia Maps. Excuse me. This is a education channel where your presenter will bring you the knowledge of the ancient region, geography, history and culture of South Asia, south of Karakoram and north of Kanyakumari. Today's topic of discussion is Bombay Presidency. In my previous presentations on Bombay Presidency, for more than 45 minutes, I talked about overall the Bombay Presidency as a subdivision, political unit of East India Company, later British Raj, for nearly 300 years or 270 years, from 1668 to 1960s. You can look at it. And I also made one presentation about 24 districts and 5 divisions of Bombay Presidency. I will show you that just briefly. This is the Bombay Presidency. There were 5 divisions here. We have seen the division, Gujarat division, and Khandesh division, Deccan division, Konkan division, and Karnataka Dharwad division. This is the Bombay Island. This is the Salsette Island. That's not the topic of today's discussion. Just I am showing what we are discussing about. And today, and I also discussed about the various ethnic linguistic groups. And you can check in the playlist of our channel, Bombay Presidency, also the Deccan region. Today we'll be particularly discussing about the topography, geography, physiography of this fascinating, the political entity, a subdivision of British Raj for around about 300 years. After completion of this presentation, you will get a very good idea of lot of terms, lot of geographical regions, historical regions, and I can consider if you can remember and point or even talk 30 seconds on each of these, the terms we are going to discuss today, you can be considered as an expert of that region. That is the British Bombay Presidency, and anybody will love to hear from you and share your mindset and the knowledge you are bringing to the audience. After completing this presentation, you will know about certain peripheral regions. It's a very big presidency. Among British has a lot of presidencies, the provinces, the residencies, the agencies. They are subdivisions of their British Raj. Madras Presidency or Bengal Presidency were also a little diverse, but in my opinion, this is geographically and linguistically such a diverse presidency. Extremely fascinating if you start reading and knowing about it. Here you will see that. After this presentation, we will see the presidency span from the Baloch Plateau to the Ballari district. That was in Madras Presidency, today in the northern part of Karnataka. And you will see what are the Kirthar mountains, what is a Karwar. So it spans from Kirthar mountains bordering Sindh and Karwar bordering south of Gomantak, or that is the Portuguese territory of Goa, or in the Canara region, that is the coastal part of modern Karnataka province. You will see the Brahui territories, it frontier, and you see the Bhatkal region bordering southern Canara or Mangaluru Udupi regions. We will see the fascinating Sahyadri mountains and bordering Cholistani desert, bordering in Dera Valley region, Derajat region of historic British Punjab province, and I have talked about it extensively elsewhere in the Punjab region. And you will see Kashmore, this is not the Kashmir, this is a district in the northern frontiers of the Sindh. Sindh division was part of Bombay Presidency, and Kandkot division and Karwar region of the erstwhile Madras Presidency, from which each was given to Bombay Presidency round about 1862 or so. In Sindh, of course, the name Sindh and Hind is from the great ancient river Mother Sindhu or Sindh, or its anglicalized version, European version of Indus River. Its historical branch or distributary Nara River, Kirthar Mountains, and the creeks, outlets of ocean, Kori Creek, Sar Creek, Khajar Creek, which are historically important between Pakistan and India. And then we come to Gujarat region, the region that connects the northern Sindh and southern predominantly the Marathi, Konkani, Kannada speaking divisions, districts. You have to remember, this is the only presidency in British India that was geographically discontiguous. That means if you start from southern part Karwar, that Bijapura, Belgavi, Dharwad, and go to Shikarpur, Shukur, Larkana, Dado, those areas, there is a geographically discontiguous, there are princely states, residencies. Whereas the Madras Presidency was not like that. Bombay Presidency is like this, and Bengal Presidency was not like that. This is the thing you have to keep in mind. And the heartland of the Bombay Presidency, of course, the Bombay Island, group of islands, there are 6 or 7 or so at the time before they reclaim, and surrounding big Salsette Island, we will see the lot of hills, Mahadeva Hills, the Balghat Hills, the Arichandra Range, the Konkan region, the Desh territory, other hills like Chendor Hills in the Nasik region or Baglana region, the Galna mountains, the Girna River, Surpalanath mountains spanning into Ajanta range, Ellora Hills, Akrani Hills, Asirgarh Hills, Gavilgarh Hills, Satpuras, which resided in the one corner of Bombay Presidency in the Desh and Khandesh region of today's Maharashtra province. Of course, the southern part of Madras Presidency is a Carnatic region. That is the Carnatic, that different from Carnatic region, Arcot region, Arcot Nawabi of Cholamandal or Coromandal of Madras Presidency. Canara districts, Gomantak, Goa bordering Kalindi, and River Jog Falls, and Balghat region, and Maidan, and the Plateau, and so on. Of course, India is the land of great rivers. All the rivers in India, Hindus' philosophy is considered feminine, and they are very divine. And Godavari River, and Sindhu River, Nara River, Tapati River, Mahi River, Sabarmati, Luni, Tunga, and Bhadra, Vardha River, Dharna River, and of course Luni River, Rupen River, Sabarmati, Kanta, Mahi Kanta, Reva, all those rivers. And couple of islands, the Dayu Island, Bombay itself was an island, Salsette Island, and Janjira Island ruled by the Abyssinian Nawabi origin. And when we talk about the Bombay Presidency, you have to keep in mind, British controlled direct, there was 5 divisions like Sindh division, Gujarat division, Konkan division, Desh division, Carnatic division, Khandesh division, and there were 24 districts or so, starting from Sukkar, Shikarpur, Karachi, Hyderabad, Tarparkar, Ahmedabad, and Anand, and Khaira, and Panchmahals, Bharuch, and Surat, and Thane, and Bombay, Sarban district, and Kolaba, Ratnagiri here, and in the Desh territory, the Pune district, Satara district, Shangli and Kolhapur were princely states not directly controlled by British, and Khandesh territory and Nagar area and Nasik area. Of course, the Solapur in the southern part. We have North Canara and Belgavi and Vijapura and Dharwad. So it has so many diverse agencies, residencies like Residency of Baroda, ruled by Gaikwad Nawab, and in the Halar region, Jam Sahab of Navanagar ruled this area, Jamnagar and Sogan. And in the Kacha Principality, and Rice ruled in the Kacha Principality. And now let's look at these areas one by one, and I have reduced it so that you can get a broader picture of this. See, the Bombay Presidency, you have to know the peripherals. These peripherals affect a lot the climate, weather, the languages, people spill from this area to these areas, the lot of historical invasions, migrations, and settlement patterns. The peripherals, the rivers, the mountains are shared, and so on. So the peripherals, this is the Balochistan Plateau. Now round about 30% of Pakistan's geographical area itself is the Balochistan Plateau, and that surrounds the Sindh division, Sindhi speaking districts. Here this is the Balochistan Plateau. So Bombay Presidency, somewhere here Balochistan, span from Balochistan Plateau to Ballari. Here you see the dam. The Ballari is the Tungabhadra combined stream is dammed at a place called Hospeta. You can see the man-made lake here, the Sagar. That the southern part is Ballari, because the Karwar district has a border with Ballari. So from Balochistan Plateau, Bombay Presidency spanned to Ballari. Balochistan Plateau to Ballari. Here you can see the Kirthar mountains. These are the offshoots of Balochistan Plateau on eastern side. Here Balochi people, Brahui people, they lived. The Balochistan historical area. There is also Balochistan in Iran or Persia. There is also Balochistan in Afghanistan. The land where Balochi peoples reside is split into the 3 sovereign countries. And lot of Sindhi rulers, later Nawabs, are Baluchi in origin. We have to keep in mind. And Balochistan and Sindh, you see from the Kirthar mountains, here the Kirthar mountains, the Bhutto's homeland, Larkana will be somewhere here. The historic civilization center, Mohenjo-daro, will be also on the west side of river Sindhu, somewhere here I am showing. That means from the Kirthar regions, the presidency spanned to Karwar. Karwar is here. Karwar is also called Canara, also called Kannad, and because there are 2 Kannad, or Karwar, Karavali region, that is the coastal part of Karnataka province, south of Govar, Gomantak, here that is Bhatkal, Karwar, Kumta, and those areas. That means from the Kirthar mountains in the Sindh region to Karwar, the presidency spanned. Of course, Brahui is this region, is linguistic group and ethnic group in the Balochistan Plateau. Why I am bringing this is the peripheral, and also some Brahuis, Belichis, of course they lived in this frontier districts of Sindh division of Bombay Presidency. So Brahui to Bhatkal. Bhatkal will be somewhere here, north of Mangalore or south of Canara, and so on. So from Bhatkal to Brahui, the Bombay Presidency span. And the mountains in the western part of this is the Sindhu Sagar. The Sagar, that means where the Sindhu river the forms is Sagar. Historically we have Sindhu Sagar, Ganga Sagar, somewhere here Hindu Mahasagar. Our alienated intellectuals start telling that this is the Arabian Sea, this is the Bay of Bengal, this is the Indian Ocean. That is the different thing. But as an intellectual Kshatriya, interested, to know our historical terminology is very important. That's not the point I am trying to. Name is very, very important. So at least certain people know this was named like that. There is a great historical, cultural significance. You should not be oblivious of your heritage. That's the point I am trying to make here. So we have Sahyadri mountain, the Western Ghat, fascinating mountains. Sahyadri mountains start from tip of Kanyakumari here, go until Narmada river here. They are contiguous, their height is also very high. All the Sahyadri, Kalusbai range around about, I think, 1700 meters. There is a Baglana in the Nasik somewhere here, south of Garna. Here, the Salher, there is this town called Salher. This is around about 1700 meters or so. And of course, the famous hill resort and temple Mahabaleshwar is around about 1400 meters. If you go south, Anaimudi in Idukki district and Nilgiris, which is exactly not geologically part of Western Ghats, but you will get a broader idea. Their mountains are very high. The monsoons are captured. That's why it rains heavily in the coastal areas, in the Ratnagiri, that is the Konkan areas, Malavan areas, Gomantak areas, Karavali areas, and Malabar areas, and Cochin areas south, and Venadu region, that is the historic Travancore or Trivandrum regions. The Sahyadri mountains we are talking about. And interestingly, because it's a very big presidency in the northern Gujarati speaking districts are part of Bombay Presidency. Let me enhance a little bit, you'll have better resolution. Aravalli Mountains also resided in the northern part. Remember, when you talk Bombay Presidency, it's not just British-controlled districts, 24, 5 divisions. Agencies, residencies, Jagidars, Takurdars, all are responsible, predominantly reported to the governor in Bombay, who reported to the Governor General, later Crown's representative Viceroy at Calcutta, or later in Indraprastha, Delhi. That always should be in your mind. So, Aravalli ranges. This here, this area is Banaskantha, Mahashana or Sabarkantha region and Panchamahals. They are called locally Danta Hills or Abu Hills or so on. The same different names, essentially the mighty Aravalli mountains of Rajputana. They extend their outliers into Gujarati speaking areas of the erstwhile Bombay Presidency. So we have Kirthar mountains we already talked about, overlooking the east west right hand side of Sindhu river, like Shikarpur area, Dadu and Larkana and all those areas. And that is about a Kirthar mountain. In Sindhu, of course, the mighty Sindhu river itself rises in the Kailash Manas Sarovar area, winds through Ladakh region and skids the Nanga Parvat mighty more than 8.8 kilometers above mean sea level or so. At Sajin place in the former Maharaja Gulab Singh territory, it enters into Cholistan area, Pashtun speaking area, and descends at Tarbala into the plain slowly. Finally at Kalabag in Mianwali area, it descends in the Punjab plains, and it gathers Panjnad, a stream of 5 rivers, at Maithan Court, and enters into Sindh at a place called Kashmore. That is not Kashmir, that is called, I have put somewhere here, you can see a Kashmore. I have also made a presentation, the difference between Kashmir and Kashmore. You can go and look at it, and look it in my playlist, maybe in the Punjab or miscellany or districts or something like that. And also historically Kanpur district, and that means from the Kashmore area. That is the district now in northern Sindh, because now there are many districts in every part of South Asia, every province. Historically, a Sindh division has only 5 districts, as we mentioned: Karachi and Hyderabad and Sukkur and Shikarpur and Sukkur here, and princely state of Kairpur you can see, and you have here the Tarparka district, and so only 5. Now there are many. Kashmore and Kandukot will be somewhere here, the frontier region, northern part. Sindhu River. Historically, Sindhu River also has a branch called Nara River. It doesn't flow that much nowadays except in the flood region. That also joins, this is the Run region, Run of Kutch, a wetland. That is the Indus Delta area. And Sindhu River, it's a distributary Nara River. We looked at Kirthar mountains overlooking the Balochistan Plateau. And there are creeks. Here we have, this is the Saurashtra region or Kathiawad region. Adjoining is a very fascinating area. Maharrao of Kutch ruled there. We have Buz and Kanla and all those Gandhidham and all those places here. Creeks, the water from Sindh Sagar enters. Their creeks, they are very important. This is a wetland. Kutch runs means wetland. In seasonally they get wet. The water comes from the ocean. Water also dumped from the rivers like Luni River and Rupen River, Banas River, and so on. Those come from the Aravalli region or Marwar region. That's like Jalore and Barmer and all those Jodhpur and Pali, those areas. And we are talking about those creeks. Important creeks are Kori Creek, Sar Creek, Kajar Creek. I will show you other maps just to pay attention to that. Of course, the Gujarati speaking districts are bonding, or they connect to Sindhi speaking and predominantly Marathi speaking areas. We have Kambat. Kambat or Kambe is a bay, small bay here. Mahi River is the mouth here, that's it dumps into Kambat, or Mahisagar here, that's the Kambat region. This is the bay, the Kutch Bay, this is the Kambat Bay. And Kutcha region we looked at, and there are a lot of hills, Mandav Hills here in Kutcha, and Girnar Hills in the Saurashtra region, and Danta Hills, parts of Aravallis, like in the Banaskanta, Sabarkanta, and Maharshana, those areas. And I have not mentioned here, there are Rajpipla Hills, they are outliers of Satpura. So you see the Tapati River here, and Narmada Gorge will be somewhere here. This area is still, there is a taluk or historical region called Rajpipla. These are the Rajpipla Hills. I didn't write it here, forgot. Girnar, Kutcha, Danta. We have this essentially Gujarat plains. You have Gujarat plains and Sindhu plains, and continues the upper Ganga plains, middle Ganga plains, and lower Ganga plains, Bengal Delta. That means from almost from Kutcha, you go to Sukha, then the Lahore and Layalpur and Amritsar, and switch over to Jalandhar and Ludhiana, and enter into Meerut, those areas, and Lucknow, Farrukhabad, and Awadh plains, and Lucknow and Allahabad, and Sahibganj at Rajmahal, enter into Bengal, Dinajpur, Rangapur, and all those areas, and Faridpur and Dhaka, and finally at Chatgaon or Chittagong. This is all the perfect plains. Nowhere the height is 250 meters at maximum. So easy for invaders to conquer, rule easily, and also very good fertile agriculture farmland. I will talk about Indus Plains and Gangetic Plains, Ganga Sindhu Maidan, some other time later. So this is a part of Runs and Mahara. Now we come to, we were somewhere in Kutcha, Danta, Gujarat, Runs. The Run is Greater Run, there's a wetland, Ramsar wetland, Greater Run, and Little Run, and Banas River, Rupen River, Luni River. In Maharashtra, there are Mahadev Hills. Here you can see the beautiful Mahadev Hills. That's why in South Asia, our emphasis is always bringing these esoteric ideas or visual ideas in the form of the pictures and the maps, as a teacher, lecturer, presenter. That's how I understand. Your grasping, articulation, understanding, appetite will be very here. If I show you this, instead of this present here and tell you something like Mahadeva Hills. These are the Mahadeva Hills here. North is Bhima and God River. South is Krishna River. This is the catchment, the dividing area, the water dividing area between southern Krishna and northern Nara and Mula, Mutta and God River, and of course the famous Bhima River. That is Mahadeva Hills. This is the Balghat region. You can see here Harishchandra range continues here. This is the Balghat. That means Ahmednagar district and so on. Manjra River and cuts through the Balghat into two and joins Godavari River. The Godavari River will be somewhere Balghat region. This is the Harishchandra region and continues like this, and Balghat region, the Nasik district somewhere here. Of course, the Konkan is a plain round about 30 kilometers to almost 100 kilometers where the Sahyadris are cut by the Ullas River here. Very fascinating land. The Konkan, the Thane district and the Bombay, the urban district, and Raigad districts, the capital of Shivaji, that is called Kolaba now at that time, and Ratnagiri district and Malavan district surrounding north of the Portuguese territory of Goa or Gomantak region. So this territory is, we have Konkan here separated by Sahyadri mountains or Sahya mountains or western Ghats. East is the Desh. Desh territory in Maharashtra means, you remember, the Pune district, Satara district, Kolhapur district, Sangli district. That is the hardcore Desh, where the Maratha power rose under Shivaji Rao Bhonsle and challenged Adil Shahis and Qutub Shahis and Mughals. Marathas built a fascinating empire from Attak to Kattak. That is the Desh, their land, their territory. They were nationalists. Of course, when Desh means, we also include Nagar or Ahmednagar and Solapur and historically Nasik or Baglan region. So that is Desh region. The hills are, here there are hills in the Nasik called Chandor Hills. There is also the taluk called Chandwad, north of Igatpuri or south of Baglan or Malher region. And there is a wind gap called Nandgavan wind gap. That means the low-lying region between the Chandor Hills in the west and Surpalanada Hills. They join the Ajanta Hills here. And below that, the Ellora Hills, the historic Devagiri city, the capital of Yadava rulers, later renamed Daulatabad. That is later a small town Kirki was built that became Aurangabad, Daulatabad and Kuldabad. All those regions overlook the Ellora Ajanta Plateau, and you have Ajanta Plateau here. And that is about the Surpalnath Hills and Ajanta Hills, Ellora Hills. And we have Satpura mountains here, right? They get the different name in different parts. Here they are called Akrani mountains, and somewhere Akrani mountains, Asirgar mountains, Gavilgar mountains. Akrani mountains, Asirgar. Asirgar is still there is historic fort, once a very formidable fort overlooking the Burhanpur Pass. Here is the Burhanpur Pass, where the river Tapti river cuts and enters into Khandesh territory. Here the bearer territory here, and Vidarbha, Nagvidarbha here. So Akrani Hills and Asirgar Hills. Of course, the Melghat itself, he was not in Maharashtra, Bombay Presidency, just we are showing. Asilgar, Gavilgar Hills, all those. Come to Karnataka. Karnataka, I made a very fascinating video, difference between Carnatic region, Karnataka, Balghat, Carnatic, Payanghat, those. Here I will not spend much time in talking about it. That itself is a topic I covered 30 plus minutes or so You can look at the districts or regions or appropriate folders. The point here is the southern 4 districts are called Carnatic region. Even Karnataka University is not in Mysore, that's the historical principality ruled by Vadayar Maharajas. Carnatic means Dharwad. That's what they consider northern Karnataka or Bombay Karnataka. That is Karwar district, northern Karwar, and Dharwad Hubli districts, and Vijapura or Bijapur district, and Belgavi districts. That is Canara. Canara is a region, a coast that is like North Canara, South Canara, Uttar Kannad, Dakshin Kannad. Uttar Kannad is Karwar district, Dakshin Kannad historically is a Mangalore district, which was under Madras Presidency. Actually, 2 Canaras were in Madras Presidency. In 1862, North Canara was detached from Madras Presidency, given to Bombay Presidency. This region is also coast called Gomantak region or Goa region. They speak Konkani like their brothers in the north, Malwan region and Ratnagiri regions. So that is Gomantak. The river Kalindi separates here between the Goa and Karwar, Kalindi river. We have Jog Falls. They were actually in the Shivamogga district of the princely state of Mysore. That overlooks a border to Carnatic region of Bombay Presidency. And Balghat region, this is the upland region. The Karnataka has a Balghat upland region and Maidan and lowland region. The Balghat, that means. And in Maharashtra, the same word is used by the Balghat is the Persian word, that the Islamic imperialism was established at Devagiri, Daulatabad by the Bahamanis. They popularized this word, came into the literature. There is also Balghat mountains, like you have Ahmednagar, Barsi, and Usmanabad, Beed, and all those areas. That's the Balghat region. And Karnataka Plateau and the Maidan. Much of the Maidan is not present in Bombay Presidency 4 southern division districts, but I have mentioned this as a part. Of course, we have the Godavari. When you talk about Bombay Presidency, headwaters of the Godavari district in Nasik resided in the Desh division or Deccan division of Bombay Presidency. This is very important. Of course, the mighty Sindhu river winded through northern Sindhi-speaking divisions of Bombay Presidency and its distributary, the Nara river. And of course, the Tapti river here and Narmada river, also called Reva river, then Mahi river, all these rivers. And we are very familiar with Sabarmati, where Gandhiji's ashram there, and there is little known river in the Barmer district. It comes River Luni, it empties into the Kacha region, that is the wetland, and of course in the southern part, the Dharwar district and North Kannada district bordered the Tunga river, Bhadra river, Vardha river, Dharma river. And it has a couple of islands. The most important islands were Dayu Island, that was under the control of Portuguese. I have made a video on Battle of Dayu around about 1534, one of the most turning point, where the Portuguese became the masters of Sindh Sagar region, Arabian Ocean, from the Swahili coast, that is Tanzania, Kenya, and so on, to Malabar coast, Karnataka, and up to Moluccas in Indonesia. You can look at it. So that is about Dayu Island. That is somewhere here in the off the coast of Junagadh district and Amreli district. Is a fascinating island and a port city, Dayu, under the Portuguese control. Then, of course, Bombay itself was an island. There is a group of 7 islands at that time. Natural deep harbor. The British moved their western presidency, headquartered at Surat on the banks of Tapati river, to Bombay. These 6 islands are like Kolaba Island, Mahim Island, Trombay Island, Bombay Island, and so on. Surrounding it, Salsette Island. That itself is a big island. And 2 distributaries of Ullas River, north Basai Creek and the east side Thane Creek separated, which they got after Treaty of Salbai in the first Anglo-Maratha War round about 1780 or so, after Battle of Panipat. the Bombay, Salsette Island. I talked about Janjira. There was Abyssinia, means other name for Ethiopia, Habashis, Abyssinians. They ruled an area called Janjira, that is south of Bombay. Very magnificent fort. Shivaji tried many times to get it. He couldn't get it. That's called Murud Janjira. Murud is on the mainland, and somewhere it will be here, Janjira. Janjira, a very great, fascinating port, Janjira. That's what we looked about the Bombay Presidency. We go and look at the same thing briefly, and you will appreciate the fascinating part of it. Here I expanded it little more. I think this is the similar thing. I will not spend, we will go and look other things. You see the Tungabhadra Dam here, and the Hospeta will be somewhere here, Gomantak, Sahyadri Mountains, and Akrani Hills, and Tapti at Burhanpur Pass, Mahi River here, the Girnar Mountains, Danta Hills, Abu Gurshikar, round about 1770 meters. One of the highest point between, you will see Annaimudi somewhere here in Idukki district of Kerala, that is, and Abu Shikar, Gurshikar, and between Himalayas, this is the highest point. And Kirthar mountains here, and we can see this. Before, I will also show you an important thing. You can look for Digital South Asia Library, Schwarzberg Atlas, and if you notice, most of my presentations and maps are taken from here. Very fascinating, open resource, and you can do it. And you go to the map section, click the contest for the power, and there are many you can explore. The most important thing here I will try is go to schematization of British, go to administrative division, page 60 here. You will see page 60. You open that. I generally keep it open, but this time I wanted to show to you so that you can go and explore by yourself. See, when you see this map, they spend such an amount of their intellectual talent to present you. When you start looking at Bombay Presidency like that, it increases your appetite to know the ancient land. That's what I am trying to bring you. So this is not a topographical map. We can see the Sindh division has Shikarpur district. It's called Frontier district, later called Sukur, the princely state of Khairpur, and Karachi district, Hyderabad district, Tarparkar district. This is the Jodhpur princely state, or Marwar, where Marwari people come. This is a linguistic group essentially. Jaisalmer district here, and Bahawalpur princely state ruled by Nawabs. Then we have the Ghazi Khan. This is the Khangar, cause Muzaffargarh district, Balochistan Plateau, geographically discontiguous Bombay Presidency, Ahmedabad, Surat, Broch, we did not go again, Khandesh, and all those areas, Desh territory, Pune, Satara, Bombay, Salsette Island, you can see fascinating Salsette Island, Thane and Konkan, and so on, Belgavi district, and you have Karwar district, Dharwar and Canara. So this is the princely state of Hyderabad. This is the Ballari district. So because from Balochistan to Ballari, the Bombay Presidency, I want to show this is the demarcation between Ballari district east and Raichur district west, and the river Tungabhadra continues northern part of Kurnool district in the seeded districts, the Rayalaseema districts, and you can see South Canara here, North Canara, Gomantak. That's why I brought this. Other map, you can also look at it. I keep it open, the same thing, but it's transparent. You can see the Sindh Presidency and Gujarat division and Desh division and so on. And the same briefly we can look at it. So the topographical map, Kirthar, Balochistan Plateau, Kirthar Mountains, and Sindh River, and Nara River will be there. Karachi city, the port city, the historic Hyderabad, on the banks of Hyderabad and Kotri here, and Bahawalpur princely state. This is the Panjnad, this is the Sindh River coming, and Panjnad, the Maitan court will be somewhere here, and Kutch runs and here, and Rajkot, Saurashtra, and Mumbai, and so on. I can show the creeks, and this may be the better map. The creeks, that's very important, the wetlands, and that is in the Kutch region. The Kori Creek, I don't know whether we can see it here. This is the Kutch, the run of Kutch, the little Kutch. Yeah, we can see the Kori Creek. Here is the Sar Creek. This is very important. The wars between India and Pakistan were fought to control this region. Historically, strategically important, even though not many people live here. The Sar Creek here, this is all the Indus Delta, lower part. Sar Creek, Kori Creek is somewhere here, Kajar Creek and so on. Only Kutch Creek is shown here, and the Tharparkar region, Umarkot and Islam Kot and Mitti and Chechru and so on. The Jaisalmer, Barmer region here, historic Hyderabad city and so on. So essentially we discussed Bombay Presidency. Today it's geography, topography, physiography, so that you will have a fascinating idea of this fascinating the political subdivision. You have East India Company Bahadur ruling India, or its later successor after Sibhai Mutiny in 1857. The East India Company became British Raj. They have a lot of subdivisions like the presidencies, the provinces, the residencies, princely states, Jagirs, Thakuris, and a lot of Wathan territories, agencies. One such is the Bombay Presidency or Presidency of Bombay. Later it's called Bombay Presidency, Bombay Province, Bombay State. There are a lot of nuances, differences. I will be discussing at some other time later, but they are little different and there are also a lot of commonality, and we discussed about it. Instead of just telling you the districts and divisions like a previous time, here I try to increase your intellectual appetite, because the channel is made for developing intellectual Kshatriyahood for South Asian population. And if you know these fascinating geographical, historical, cultural points, you will be very much interested to know about your great motherland. So we looked at the peripherals of Balochistan Plateau to the Ballari area, that is the bordering the Madras Presidency and the Tungabhadra River, Kirthar Mountains. Let me reduce myself, so that's not important. So Kirthar, I have to move between these two because I don't want to lose the information here. Kirthar Mountains somewhere in the Sindh to Karwar region, south of Gomantak, Goa, and we looked at the Brahui territory, Kalat and all those areas in Balochistan Plateau to Bhatkal in the North Canada or North Karwar region, and of course the mighty Sahyadri mountains, we looked at it, and the Western Ghats, their anglicized name is Western Ghats, Sahyadris, the mighty Mara Aravali mountains also, and Kirthar mountains overlooking the Sindhi-speaking areas of Bombay Presidency. And we looked at the great desert in India, third desert or Marustali desert, and it is called Cholistan desert in the Bahawalpur, Bahawal Nagar, south of Satluj, Rahim Yar Khan. It's called Thal region in the Sindh Sagar Doab, Muzaffargarh and all those areas, Mian Bali and so on. Derajat region, that is the west of Indus River, Derajat, Ismail Khan, Ghazi Khan and so on. They are not directly with Sindh, but they bordered the Sindh Presidency. And Kashmore region, that is the northern frontier region west of Sindhu River, bordering Balochistan's Shibi district. That was the historical cantonment area, the important gateway from Sukar to Sibi. Then it crosses Bolan Pass. We can see the Sibi here, Bolan Pass, then Quetta and Kajak Pass. Then it goes into historic Kandahar in the Afghania territory or Durrani territory. Kashmir, Kandkot, Karwar in the south, Sindh River, Nara River, Kirthar Mountains, Kori Creek, we have seen the Sar Creek also, Kajar Creek. In Gujarat, we looked at the Gujarat Plains and the Gulf of Kambat, Kutch region or Kutch, Greater Kutch and Little Kutch, the wetlands, the Kutch region, the Danta Mountains, Abu Hill Mountains, Gujarat Plains, the Run of Kutch wetlands, the runs, Greater Run and Little Run, River Banas and River Rupen, River Luni, that they flow through like Banaskanta River or Patan River or Mahashana River, and those areas empty into the Run. Then Maharashtra, we have Mahadeva Hills, the water divide, north for Bhima and south for Krishna tributaries, and Balghat region and Harichandra region, that is Kalusbai range and so on, Thane, Nasik areas, Balghat, Barsi, Ahmednagar, so those areas. Manjra River cuts through the Balghat and Konkan area and lowland Desh territory, Pune, Satara, Sangli, Kolhapur, and Nasik, that is historic Baglan region, and hills like Chandur Hills, round about Chandwad Taluk of Nasik district, and Galna Hills, that means the Girna River flows to border of the Nasik district and Khandesh, Galna Hills, Surparnath Hills, Ajanta Hills, Ellora Hills, Aurangabad, Daulatabad, Kuldabad, and the offshoots of Satpuras, Akrani Hills, Asirgarh Hills, Gavilgarh Hills. In Karnataka region, 4 southern districts, North Kannada, Belgavi, Dharwad, Hubli, Bijapur, Vijapura. We looked at Canara region, Gomantak Canara region, here Gomantak region, and Kalindi River, Jog Falls, and Jersopa Falls in Shivamogga district, and the historic name for Balghat and Payanghat, and Carnatic region, Karnataka Plateau, Karnataka Maidan and Sudan, mighty Godavari River, Sindhu River, Nara River, Distributary Tapati, Mahi, Sabarmati, Luni, and Tunga River, Bhadra River, Wardha River, Dharma River. Islands like Goa Island, Bombay Island, Salsette Island, and historic Janjira Island, and port ruled by Abyssinian Nawabs or Habbasi Nawabs off the coast of Konkan near Murud, called Murud Janjira, I think 100 kilometers or so south of Bombay, and so on. This is what we discussed today about Bombay Presidency, the geographical part of it. This is J. Reddy, your articulate presenter for this intellectual educational channel, building intellectual Kshatriyahood. I really appreciate you taking the time, subscribing, popularizing our channel, and commenting your inputs, any compliments or criticisms for me. And this is your presenter J. Reddy, and as usual we will meet some other presentation. I have a couple of ideas to make more presentation in the Bombay Presidency that will be very helpful to bring the historical knowledge to your laptop, computer or cell phone. And Dhanyavad. See you later.